Alright folks, welcome back to the flight deck, the Majestic de Havilland -8 Q400. We are approximately 24.2 nautical miles, 4 minutes, till our top of descent, which again is indicated by this circle. And we will be making our way into the next waypoint here, which is the ball, which is on the approach, then lens 5600, which we have to be really careful, and then into Barlow at 3500, and then down for the approach. There is no glide slope on this. This is simply a localizer approach. We're going to go visual after we line up for the localizer and bring it in. Landing elevation, I think, is like, let's check it out. The altimeter is 2974, which I wrote down, so passing 1800 down on our descent, we'll configure our altimeter for that. IFR plates, we're taking this Lima Delta Alpha X-ray landing runway 8, and the touchdown elevation is 25 feet. As you can see, here's Barlow, it's at 3700. There's these lovely little mountains here and on the way, so as soon as we cross, crossing between this area here, we need to hold 6300 here, above here, and make sure we get down to eventually 3600 feet here at Barlow on our way into the runway. Again, we are steadily approaching, so I am going to go ahead and perform a descent checklist quick. Before I do that, I will set my altitude prep, which will be this, down to 6300, and we'll arm the VNav, which is here. Now our vertical navigation pardon me, is configured for a descent at 1800 feet. Our landing checklist, or rather our descent checklist, the pressurization panel is on auto, so that's set, and GPS flaps here set for 15, which I plan to land at, and our briefing speeds, all that good stuff, need to be set. So now I will go into my speed checklist for flaps. There has been no ice detected yet. I'm not getting an indicator. I am just going to simply de-ice the aircraft through the clouds just to be on the safe side. We'll go ahead and do it on slow, and we'll de-ice the props. So, just to be on the safe side, there are some clouds here as we are getting ready to start our descent. Check our weight really quick here. Our gross weight now is 57,000 pounds, so it'll be under that. So our V approach speed will be 122, our V ref will be 121, and our VA go around will be at 111. Alright, so we've picked up the path to descend, back on the power, so that we don't have an excessive speed. So down we go. And again, 29er74 is going to be our altimeter. Just back off this a little bit so we can see what's going on here. Keep an eye on our speed. A little more power so we can kind of hang out around this speed here of 257, 256 knots. Shortly we'll be passing 18,000 feet. So again, our V approach speed is going to be 122. Let me go ahead and just get this to 29er74. There we go. 29er74. So that we do have the appropriate VNAV is just going to adjust itself a little bit since I went ahead and adjusted the altimeter. So the approach speed at flaps 15, of course, we said it's going to be 122. Set that for 122, and then of course our VREF, or our final approach speed, is going to be 121. So not a big difference. Our VA go around is 111. Of course, if we do get ice, we're going to add 20 knots to V approach, which would effectively bring that up to 142 knots, and VREF and V go around, of course, so on and so forth. So let's try to manage this puppy down to the ground so that everybody can have a great day. Alright, so we're coming up for a left-hand turn to roughly 75 degrees here in 9.8 miles. Once we make the left turn, we will go for the descent checklist, or the approach checklist, I should say. So speed is good. We'll get some landing lights on here shortly. Let's check for any traffic, just to be on the safe side. There will be no traffic, so we'll take a left turn and we're coming in here. So it's looking good. Manage that speed. Situated. Here we go for the turn. So on our approach, we're going to make sure altimeters are set. We've already set those. Fuel transfer is going to be off. Fuel pumps, standby hydraulics, and the power takeoff unit is going to be on. Hydraulics check. Passenger signs on. Caution panel black. Cabin secured. we can say that the cabin is secured. The passenger signs are on. This panel is black. And our pumps are on. Power takeoff is on. And we are effectively still on our way down. We look good. Increase a little speed here. Getting ready to pass below 10,000 feet. We're going landing lights on, of course. Now we are going to effectively square our heading bug up, which is pretty square. Range. And as we get a little closer to this point, we'll fly our heading manually and look for a capture for the localizer. So again, very imperative. Once we get to this point, I will adjust the altimeter, not the altimeter, rather the altitude selection, not to exceed 5,600 below this point, and then we'll get it down to 3,500 there for Barlow. So I'm going to just go ahead and keep the VNAV up because I want the VNAV to handle that. So here in a second I'll be hitting next. Adjusting the speed. So all gotta happen pretty quick. So actually what we'll do is set it for the 3,500. So all we have to do is hit next. We'll see if that works. There. We'll just hit next. We're gonna go to lens. Just do 3, I guess. Hit enter. Deviation. We're going to hit lens. At 5,600. And so we do have a bit of a turn once we come in, so it'll be interesting. It on aircraft control for now. And we're getting more weather than I thought we would be getting. So now we're on LNAV approach. And then now, of course, we can go to Barlow. Get us down at Barlow. Shortly, we're going to be bringing it in. Let's put these power condition levers up to 100. I want to auto feather land as well, which I know is not in the checklist, but start decreasing our speed here a bit. Landing lights are on. Alright, this is for all the money. Alright, there's our notification that we'll be at 3,500 here at Barlow. Power down here, get to Barlow, and we'll take the aircraft. Alright. And we are looking real good. Altitude select here. So versus low down, nose down. Just to bleed some altitude here. Just gonna bring it back down.
2,500.
1,700 feet. Alright, going for some flaps. I see the runway, so we're going to take it from here. And they want us to put the gear down, so we'll do that. Flap lever here, and we're at flaps 10. No worries. Alright, get my range control here, and let's get the bird on the ground. We're not doing too bad at all. Gear down, 3 green. We have the aircraft. Final stage of flaps. There we are. Now there is a bit of a little mountain there, kind of right in front of us. We need to make sure that we stay above that. So we'll just keep the nose up. Alright, we're at about 1,500. Drop our nose on in, and we'll have a nice little approach here. We got our V approach speed. good on our approach. Very dangerous airport to depart and arrive, of course. Because you got some good variables called terrain in the way, but we're just going to kind of terrain glide here, watching our speed ever so closely.
1,000.
Too high, too high.
And we don't listen
500.
to that banter. So we are professionals here. No such thing as too high.
0-8.
When you're coming in for a Juneau approach, add a little bit of speed on there.
Unstable, unstable.
There we are.
100.
Don't mind my children making noises in the background.
Minimums.
Landing.
Minimums.
Coming in a bit of an angle.
50. 30. 20.
Long landing, long landing.
And we're down. Not too bad. Let's throw in some reverse for good measure. Touchdown into the Juneau airport. Won't mind my son, he's over here banging on my leg here. Alright, we'll turn off the runway here. Love you too, buddy. Nice little turn off here. And let's do what we need to do here. We need to turn some taxi lights on. Need to get some power to the APU going on. I'm going to retract the flaps here. And we'll get the APU started. Turn the bus lock. Bring our condition levers back for minimum taxi. And we'll leave them there. We don't want to mess it up. Turn the auto feather off. Alright. Let's get a taxi in. Just double check, make sure no traffic. So our APU's on. As we get to the gate, we'll turn our traffic control squawk Charlie mode off. We're just going to kind of bring it in this way. We don't have any ATC guidance to bring us into the ramp, so we're going to find our own way. It was a delightful flight. My departure in Anchorage was sloppy and irresponsible to check out for that terrain, but we kind of just winged it with no ATC. Next time I'll read the departure plates, make sure we're in compliance with things called mountains, any other terrain or obstacles, but it's one benefit of flight simming versus really doing it. Passengers don't know anything. It was a smooth flight, nothing drastic. They'll know after they watch the video. We'll find somewhere over here kind of get in front of something that doesn't require a jetway. Had a little bit of weather coming in, nothing bad. We didn't ice. One of the things that I probably should have done, but it's okay. You can land with the aircraft de-icing as needed, of course. I, in this case, just completely did not turn it off. So we'll kind of make our way to one of these side walls over here. There we are. Looks like that's a door there. Just winging it. Mind you, once we pull up, we gotta bring the conditioner levels back to minimum. We'll let it idle for the minimum of 30 seconds. Let's bring those back. So we'll let those at least idle for 30 seconds. And we'll get our landing lights off. That off. We'll keep the position lights and the logo. And let us go to squawk standby. Have a lock in place, which is good. Turn this off. Starting to kind of shut stuff down here. It's starting to rain again. Passengers aren't going to like that upon departing the plane. Alright, we can turn our tilts off. Let's turn the yaw dampener off. Go ahead and go for shutdown on the engines now. Technically, I could have definitely went back to start and feather. Let's tie the generator bus in. And let's turn these bleeds off. Of course, now we can get the door open, or I should say doors. There we are. Let's request some ground power. Give that a second to request, and we landed, we landed with still over an hour's worth of fuel here, so that's good.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board our Dash 8 Q400.
And you can see
Just waiting for the rest of the
little announcements automatically start again. We got our power unit out there, so let's turn our bleed off, our generator off, and we're going to go to external power. We can just simply turn that off now. So we got external power. Tie it in, and we'll leave the bus, don't hurt. Unless it does. Turn our warnings off there. Double check, make sure we turn on our taxi lights. We'll leave position lights on as the aircraft is being deboarded. walk up, and technically we should have came around and just came here, but we're rule breakers, so. Alright folks, well, we made it into Juneau. I think we can call this flight a success, and we'll see you next time.